Hello, I'm Nicolette Pomber-van Zyl, editor of ESI Africa, coming to you from the African Utility Week studio. Today I'm with Aurelia van Eeden, who is from Frost & Sullivan and is the business unit leader for energy and environment. Welcome, Aurelia.
Thanks, Nicolette.
Aurelia, you have spoken on the conference program in the sessions that are taking place upstairs at African Utility Week. And one of the sessions was around whose water. I think that's a very good question to be asking around integrated water resource management. What is it that came out of your session that really was an important message?
I think the fact that people are starting to question the governance framework for water. So when you look at, for instance, the Integrated Water Resource Management Framework, which is the current governance framework on which South Africa's water resources are currently governed, the community is starting to ask, is integration really the key to successful governance? And shouldn't it be more a participatory approach between the different sectors to really engage with the sectors, the industry bodies, the various water users when the decisions surrounding water resources needs to be made. And I think that was one of the key things, at least for me, that came out in this session, is that we are approaching that point where we really want to break down the silos in the governance structures so that we really get the true benefit, at least for South Africa's water users and truly manage it in the right way.
I think that's a very important step to be taken, especially looking at South Africa being a water-stressed country. And not only South Africa, other countries in Africa are sitting with a resource problem. With South Africa and other African countries being water-stressed, it's very important that we look at the plan around the future of water resources. But what do you advise in South Africa?
Okay, I think there's possibly 2 or 3 points that I can highlight for that specific question. The first of all would be then to, like I mentioned, take an overall view at the sector and plan not in silos, but rather to interact with the various sectors involved in water governance. So that would be my first point, but then also to address the real questions surrounding the skills that are available to govern resources, water resources more specifically, in a right way. At this stage, we are sitting with a huge knowledge gap in the water sector, so we would need to start thinking about the way that we're going to recruit the new and upcoming people in South Africa to fill that knowledge gap that will soon take place if we do not plan ahead. So for a water secure Africa, I think it's a participatory approach between the different sectors, but then also keeping in mind that we need to fill the skills gap that we currently have, or definitely going to have if we do not plan ahead.
I think it's very important around the skills development, as it is an industry that is not always seen as an attractive industry to go into. And this brings me to the question around investment. How does the water sector attract more investment?
Nicolette, that's currently not happening, to be very honest. If you look at the power sector or the energy sector, they've managed to secure so much investment. The money is there. And similar in the water sector, the money is there. The investors do want to engage.
Okay.
But I think the first thing that would need to happen is that we would need to have a very clear understanding of what the institutional frameworks are for the investors to engage with the sector. So if you do not have that regulatory framework or the institutional setup for instance, a private sector investor to engage with the public sector, then you just don't see the investment coming. So first of all, I would think that one needs to have a very good understanding of the sector, define the typologies of the institutions in the sector that's currently governing our water resources, and then that's probably going to assist at least to bring the investors or attract the investors to the water sector.
So the money is there, it's just that there seems to be some kind of a disconnect.
I believe so, yes.
But you also sat on a panel discussion that was looking at how utilities should coordinate around this. So what is it that came out of that session that was really an impression on you?
There was a specific lady who asked about the price of water and the real business of water. And that is one thing that didn't come up last year, which was quite interesting for me to see that the water sector is definitely ready to engage on the topic, which is quite a contentious topic around water as a business. But to understand the real price of water, and is it actually fair to put a price to water if it has been declared, or access to water has then been declared a basic human right? I think that was something, at least for me, that I found quite interesting or surprising as well. And I'm excited to see that the private sector sitting in the audience also raised their hands to ask what needs to be done, similar to what you asked now.
Yes.
So I believe that the investors are out there, and it's refreshing to see that they're ready to engage and they want to engage in the water sector.
That is really something that you need more, is the engagement within the water sector.
Yes.
So lastly, my question to you is, you spoke about the skills development in the water sector. What advice would you give to a young academic who wants to enter that sector?
For me, being young myself, I believe, is to really follow your passion. I've come across so many professional individuals in this space, and all of them have a passion for water. And I would encourage them not to lose that. So for the young professionals out there, I would advise them to follow their passion, stay engaged with the sector, be in front of these discussions, be at the conferences, and be provocative in your questions that you ask as well, and in the things that you believe in. So I would basically just encourage them in that way, is to say then follow your passion.
And keep on asking those very important questions to keep that discussion.
Definitely. Do not shy away from it.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Aurelia. Thank you for watching. I'm Nicolette Pomba van Zyl, coming to you from African Utility Week Studio.